Well, hey, everybody. Happy Thursday. Today, I want to talk about giving you some strategies that you can use on walks for your reactive dog to help your dog succeed, right? So, reactive dogs who are reactive on walks specifically, you think you're going to leave your house and have a nice walk. Maybe you don't know your dog is reactive yet. Maybe you know your dog is reactive, but you're like, oh, I'm walking at a good time. Nobody's going to be out there. But then there's another dog, or there's a person, or there's a person on a bicycle, or there's a squirrel, right? You name the trigger, suddenly it's there, and then there's chaos, right? You're embarrassed, you're frustrated, but you need to walk this dog, and it just never goes well. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to give you 3 strategies that you can use for your reactive dog who is reactive on walks to calm both ends of the leash. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm Brianne, and I want to give you all tips on dog training and dog enrichment. Let's get started. I've got my notes to keep me on track to make sure that I tell you everything I want to tell you. So strategy number 1, let's get right into it. Add distance early. Last week, I talked all about adding distance. So you can always go back to that one if you want more detail. But one of the biggest mistakes people make is not creating enough space soon enough. So the dog gets too close to the trigger, they pass that calm threshold, and they can't keep it together anymore, right? So ideally, you see the trigger before your dog does, you move away before your dog has a chance to get all those big feelings built up to the point that they want to let them out. So create distance by walking across the street, stepping off the pathway. Maybe you turn around and create as much distance between you and the trigger as possible. The pushback is, I'm just avoiding the problem, right? I want my dog to be able to walk through that trigger. Yes, we do want your dog to be able to walk through that trigger, but typically in the beginning, your dog is not ready to be close to that trigger, and we don't want them to rehearse the bad behavior, right? Because then it becomes a habit, and then that habit is harder to break. So avoiding it for now is management, right? There's a very important distinction that it's management, it's not avoidance, because ultimately you are going to get them to face it. But first, you have to train them to be calm. You have to train them that they're able to see that trigger from a distance and keep it together. So distance is going to be your best friend. Add it as early as you possibly can. You're not always going to be able to, right? Sometimes your dog is going to see it before you do. Sometimes you're going to turn a corner and something's going to surprise you, right? In those moments, that's okay, right? Give yourself grace. You're doing the best you can. Strategy number 2 goes right along with all of this, and that's keep moving, right? Sometimes we get stuck and we want them to behave right now. The trigger has just surprised us from around that corner. Your dog's freaking out. You're telling them to sit, and then suddenly you're screaming at them to sit. You're yanking on the leash. You're frustrated, right? And your dog is still just going ballistic. So keep moving. Keep moving. Create that distance, right? Keep moving right on through it. Don't make them sit and wait and think that you're going to be able to get them under control. If they are in that mode of reactivity, they're not listening, they're not able to. So create distance by get a move on, get out of there, right? Create enough distance away from the trigger so that you can try to get them back focusing on you again, right? And listening to you. So let's see. Yeah, if you make them stand still, even if they are still calm, but they're not trained through the reactivity yet, sometimes having them sit and wait through the trigger, if the trigger gets too close, they're not going to be able to stand that pressure, right, of sitting still while this trigger is coming up on them. Eventually they will get there, but if you notice that it creates too much pressure, they're not ready for it yet, get moving in the opposite direction. Because it often makes your dog feel safer when they can move away from what's making them so anxious and have those big feelings. Sometimes you're able to, like if the trigger's coming straight at you, let's say it's another dog and they're walking straight towards you, maybe you're able to arc around And so you can keep going in the same direction that you were going if turning around or simply walking off the pathway is not going to be sufficient. So know your surroundings, right? Keep an eye on things. And when you see the trigger, look right then to see where you can move to keep moving and create that distance. And when you get your dog moving, sometimes that can help them calm down and lessen that tension. Sometimes I have given the advice to just take off running. Call your dog and take off running. And you know how dogs are like down to party no matter what? And they just get really excited because you're excited. If you just are suddenly like, come on, let's go, and you take off running, a lot of times they'll just follow you and the tension's gone just like that. And you're creating space, creating distance. Okay, strategy number 3, reward their calm choices. This is huge because this is going to be what teaches your dog what you want them to repeat, what the behavior is that is acceptable and that makes you happy, right? So if there comes if and when, because you've been training calm and you've been creating distance and you've been really working on these things, when there comes a time that your dog sees a trigger from far away and they don't react, you're closer than ever before, they choose to look back up at you, throw a freaking party. Highly reward those choices because that's the progress that you want. Those are the decisions you want them to make. Reward those heavily. So whatever their trigger is, if they are able to see it, take it in, look back at you, oh my gosh, yes, reward that, mark that. Treats, praise, pets, throw a party. If they see their trigger and they can just keep on walking, right? Anytime that they are able to disengage on their own and they make that choice without you having said anything, those are the moments that is teaching them. When you reward them, it's teaching your dog what to do, instead of always telling them, don't do that, stop yelling, don't bark at that dog, right? Those are the moments that are teaching them what you want from them. So quick recap: strategy number 1, create distance as early as possible. Strategy number 2, keep moving. And that goes hand in hand with create distance, but don't stop if your dog's not ready to do that. And then number 3, reward their calm choices that they make on their own to disengage when they do see a trigger. I don't care if they are far away. If you notice that your dog sees their trigger and decides to keep walking, sit, look at you, make any choice other than bark, 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 react, 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 throw a party and reward those things because that's what's really going to teach them what you want. That is all I have for you. I wanted to keep this one pretty short. Let me know in the comments. Do you have a reactive dog? What do you do? What works for you? What advice has worked for you? What advice have you tried that hasn't worked for you? And what questions do you have about your reactive dog so that I can speak to that in another live. If this was helpful, share it with somebody you know who has a reactive dog, and contact me anytime when you need help or have questions about anything training or enrichment. I'm happy to help. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.